welcome to this discussion on setting positive intentions. My name is Jill Mazure. I am a yoga teacher and a massage therapist at In Touch Yoga and Massage in Clinton Township, Michigan. I'm excited to bring you this presentation on the power in creating positive intentions. For each yoga class I teach, we start with setting an intention for the class or the day. When we start each day with a positive outlook, the day automatically gets a little bit better. So let's look at how we are going to put our minds to work here today and reviewing that the simple statement, we are what we put our mind to, can really come to life for us. Let's explore positive intentions together. Our minds are fascinating. They operate faster than we give them credit for, and they keep our body systems running in the background while we sleep, eat, brush our teeth. So why not feed it some good thoughts to focus on while it works to keep our hearts beating and our systems running for us? Ed Milet has a saying, your brain will go to work to make your beliefs come true. We want to keep those beliefs as positive as possible. It is said that the average person has 50,000 thoughts a day. On average, 49,000 of those thoughts are the same thing as yesterday. And 70-80% of those thoughts can be negative. Yikes. So it is very important to create positive intentions. It is also important to become aware of the negative thoughts that don't serve our future and to rewire the meaning that's attached to them. This gives us power to making lasting positive changes in our lives to be able to drive the future we want. Thoughts, feelings, and emotions. Remember way back to elementary school when you had vocabulary lessons? You had to learn new words, how to spell them, and what their definitions were. You can think of our thoughts like being that for our brain, vocabulary. Dr. Joe Dispenza is a chiropractor and an author, and he writes a lot of books and helps people with retreats and at seminars and helping them visualize how to heal themselves mentally and physically and to transform their lives through meditation, neuroscience, and redirecting their thoughts in a positive way. He himself suffered a paralyzing spinal injury from a bicycle accident. And after being told he was not going to recover and walk again, he worked with the powers of his mind to help heal himself back to full recovery. As he has this quote, thoughts are the vocabulary of the brain, feelings are the vocabulary of the body. How you think and how you feel creates your state of being. Most people connect their state to the past, and if they are in a familiar past, they're going to want the predictable future and routine. When we change the meaning of the vocabulary, we change the emotion and feelings associated with that. When our thoughts and feelings are in alignment, that creates our state of mind, our state of being. And our state drives our actions, and our actions create our future. We want to become aware of how certain thoughts, words, phrases make us feel, and what emotions we automatically attach to this subconsciously, to this vocabulary. So the trick is, how do we create this awareness? The first step in creating awareness is we notice when we begin to loop negative thoughts. Many people aren't even aware that they say sorry for things they didn't even do, or that they talk out loud to themselves and call themselves names or put themselves down. We might do it silently in our minds. And those are damaging for us. So the first step is to notice when we are looping a negative thought internally in our minds or outwards with our vocabulary. And the second is to come back to the present moment. We can do this by noticing our body is in this space and time right now. Noticing our surroundings. What do you see? What do you hear? What do you smell? Most importantly, to come back to your breath. Because when we are stressed, we have a tendency to hold our breath. So make sure you tell yourself, I'm breathing in, I'm breathing out. And maybe even take a few deep breaths and sigh it out. Makes the body calm and brings you back to the present moment. When we start to get good at those steps, we can move on to a practice of gratitude for everything and anything in our lives. As simple as the pillow that you sleep on, the clothes that you have, the blue sky, the trees budding in the springtime. We start canceling out those negative loops and replacing them with simple positive things we can see all around us. It gets easier and easier. And then we move on to more challenging things like social situations. Who are we surrounding ourselves with? Do the people that we hang out with always talk negatively, put other people down? Or are they uplifting and empowering with their words? Do they act like forklifts to help other people up? Do you need to make a shift to the people that you surround yourself with slowly? When you have the choice to be with certain people, can you make choices that help you reframe the negative thoughts into positive ones? Again, when we're on our own, we can choose to spend time reading books or listening to podcasts from inspirational people who might challenge the way we think, to think positively, to encourage ourselves. There's an author, Brene Brown, who's really good at challenging the status quo. And in her book, Daring Greatly, if you decide to read it, could possibly help you move outside the comfort zone. Some more options as we continue to create awareness in what we are doing and who we're with, and what we're reading, who we're listening to. It all starts to connect with the people who see you, who see that you are an amazing person. We connect with people who are grateful, and we start to attract that into our lives. We also want to start to connect with people who see you for who you are and are authentic with that. They see the confidence and how that you're working to be positive and reframing those negative loops. And they continue to encourage you, strengthening those habits, supporting you in new habits of growth and potential, and setting these positive intentions for each day to build the mental habits to be healthy. Just like we exercise for our bones and muscles, this mental activity of creating positive intentions helps us build strong neural connections in our brains, which also helps us release hormones that make us feel happier. We can start to create habits to leave ourselves inspirational phrases, maybe some words or phrases on sticky notes stuck around places, reminding us to practice our affirmations of gratitude. There's also another area of where we can focus on being positive, and that's in the song lyrics that we listen to. Those lyrics carry subconscious messages to the body and the mind. And so I just remind you to be mindful of what you're listening to and how much you are listening to it, not to undo the hard work that you are putting in finding these positive intentions each day. One more thing that you could do is to get creative. Learn something new that forces you to be creative. Because your mind cannot be thinking negative thoughts while the mind is busy learning something new. So we go about this process of studying positive intentions, and that helps us with the stories that we tell. Our brains are fabulous at telling stories. We dream at night, we have daydreams in the daytime, and all of those dreams help us understand stories of our past, recreate our futures. But sometimes our minds play tricks on us, and they have a revisionist history on some of the stories that we replay. And we tend to focus on the negative things replaying in our minds, ruminate over and over again on a mistake we might have made or something that we said. And so it's important to help us remember that sometimes those meanings are negative that we're replaying. Some of them keep us safe, like don't touch the stove, you might get burnt. And that's okay. But sometimes the stories get tangled up with emotions and feelings that don't accurately reflect our present situation. But we get confused, and those messages get tangled that could cause us fear or a lack of trust. And those stories can hold us back. So if we become aware that this is happening, we have the power to change that messaging. And we can rewrite the story to reflect this new present time. This present time then allows us to be able to grow in a new direction, to be positive. We can reframe all of that negativity, and we can rewrite the contract with our old selves, healing that into a new contract and a new vocabulary that is positive and long-lasting. So, shifting from the half-empty to half-full cup is really awesome. We get to the point where that cup is no longer even half full. It's running over with positivity. So a few ways that we continue to grow in this area is that simple practicing of gratitude, focusing on what we do have and not what we don't have. Allowing ourselves to accept imperfection, understanding that flaws are part of growth and learning. We're going to make mistakes. We can try our best every single day, but that best isn't going to be the same every single day. It's not always 100%. But we can visualize success. We can picture the outcomes that we want. We can build the motivation and confidence in what we are doing to achieve it. We surround ourselves with positivity, spending time with uplifting people who encourage us over and over again. We can reframe our thoughts, turning negative self-talk and thinking into constructive perspectives. Remembering to stay present, keep focusing on the current moment instead of worrying about the past or the future. And this allows us to limit complaints because as we shift our focus from problems to possible solutions, everyone can complain, but only a few of us are allowed to solve problems. So be part of the few that solve problems. Be a forklift. Raise other people up with your solutions for yourself and for others. Most importantly, back to the words. Speak kindly, using words that are encouraging to yourself and others, because just like a magnet, you will begin to attract more and more positive people into your life. And this cycle of creating positive intentions will flow easier and easier and easier. And everything just starts to get better. It all starts with setting a positive intention at the beginning of the day, or at lunchtime, or at dinner time. And whenever you remember, setting that positive intention can be as simple as today, I will smile at strangers, or today, I am love. Today, I am grateful for the job I have. Today, I will practice listening more. They certainly don't need to be grand statements. Nothing like, I'm going to make $1 million. We just take things in small chunks, and we frame positive language of simple things for us to work on. There's a famous quote, watch your thoughts, they become your words. Watch your words, they become your actions. Watch your actions, they become your habits. Watch your habits, they become your character. Watch your character, it becomes your destiny. You are destined to do great things. May you start today over right now with a deep breath in and a huge sigh out. Now set an intention of love and gratitude for yourself. Take another breath. Sigh it out. Be well, and thank you for listening.